Is my screen visible?
Yes.
So let's get started. Good evening, everyone. Today we are here to have a learning session and on Gradle versus Maven. So we will have an overview about build tools, Maven and Gradle. Then we will compare some of the features that both of these tools provide us, and then we will see how can we choose between these two whenever we are working on some project. So, this is the content that we will be covering today. Overview of Maven architecture, Gradle overview, Gradle scan, dependency management differences, and how to choose. So let's get start with overview of Maven. So Apache Maven is a software project management tool, simply a build tool, which is based on the concept of project object models. In simple language, we call it as POM file, the pom.xml file. And Maven is a very powerful software project management tool, which is used to manage and build projects and as well as to maintain dependency to describe your project. So how Maven works is Maven defines a complete build cycle which contains 7 phases that we are seeing here: validate, compile, test, package, verify, install, and then deploy your build. So let's see what all of these phases mean with Maven. So validating the project. For validating the project, Maven checks your project and checks if it's validated and all of the necessary information that is needed for building your project is available or not. In the compile step, Maven simply compile your source code, the source code of the project, and then it gets to the test phase and test the compiled source code using any suitable unit testing framework that you have included in your project. And these tests should not require code to be packaged or deployed. As we see, they are run just after compiling your source code. If test case are passed, then we come to the next phase, that is the package, in which the compiled code is packaged in its distributable format like jar or whatever you had defined in your pom.xml file. Then it's verified, installed in your local repository, and then it's deployed in the build environment. So these are the phases that are included in the Maven build lifecycle. Whenever you build your project, these are the default phases that are run. Um, okay, so here's the Maven architecture. It don't have so many components. It's a very simple architecture in which a local repository, some central repositories, and pom.xml files are included. So let's see what are these. So pom file is a file that every project uses. Every project contains, which uses Maven in its U directory. So what a project object model file contains is that it contains all of the dependencies and tells you basically how to build it, what all dependencies to gather from repositories, what all plugins to apply it, from where to fetch dependencies, and everything that is needed by a project to get built. Then is the Maven directory. So Maven institutes a common project structure and offers a standard file format for describing how it works. So pom.xml is a very described file, but it contains a common structure. You can't simply go and put anything in that. It will give you compile time errors. So there's a defined structure in which you have to put all of the metadata needed to build your project. And then Maven calls in dependencies and configure the project for you as per the definition. And we see the central repositories here. So Maven uses central repositories to discover and publish the project packages and dependency. Maven discovers the central repository, download it to the local repository, and install it in the project and use as per the need. So here here Maven have this local repository, so that whenever your project needs the same dependency or same jar, it doesn't has to goes to central repository or the remote repository every time it needs it. It can simply look in the local repository, fetch the dependency, and start getting for the use in your current project. So this central repository we see here, it is provided by the Maven community. If any necessary jar or dependency files are included in a local repository, so they'll be simply fetched from central and remote repositories. And if whenever any new dependency or jar is published, which is supported by Maven, are uploaded here and are free to use uh, for the community. So, and yeah, one more component we see here is the site. So site plugin in Maven is used to generate a site for the project, which includes the reports and documentation basically. So this was about these basic components of Maven architecture. Let's go to the next slide now. Okay. So Maven provides these exclusive features that we have just discussed about here. And also it provides us a dependency plugin which helps to manipulate the artifacts. So basically, when you work with Maven and you define a number of dependencies in your POM file, there could be cases when when you want to see the transitive dependencies, all of the dependencies that you have included. So we have used a term here, transitive dependencies. What is it? It's a dependency which is contained in some another dependency. Like you have included a dependency called A in your project, but that A dependency depends upon B dependency, and B dependency depends upon C. So B and C are called the transitive dependencies here, which are included in your project even if you don't define them in your pom.xml file. So if you want to see that hierarchy, how dependencies are included in your project, you can see that using this Maven goal called dependency tree. It shows you dependencies A to Z that are included in your project, and this goal is very helpful when you go to resolve conflicts in your project. So what happens if you have added a number of dependencies and those have similar transitive dependencies but of different versions. So what happens at runtime, sometimes those different versions collide with each other and gives us runtime errors. So we have to or we should resolve them at compile time first, by watching this dependency tree, that only exclusive versions of your artifact should be included in your project. And if any different versions of same artifact are included, then you should exclude that from your POM file. Or if you want to include a latest version or a very specific version of any dependency, then you should define it in your file. We will see in the next slide how we do that. So next of the Maven goal is called dependency analyze. It basically analyzes the dependency of your project and determines which are used and declared, but which are used and undeclared, or unused and declared. So what this means is, here if we run this goal and for your project, it shows us this output. It shows us used undeclared dependency found. Sorry, yeah. So these are the used but undeclared dependency. That means all of the transitive dependency that we are having. The second kind of dependencies it shows us is unused declared dependencies found. That means we have declared these dependencies, but these are never used in the project. So these are simply overburdening our project. We can simply remove that. So in order to make your build uh, light and optimized, we can use these goals. The next goal is dependency analyze duplicate. So it analyzes the dependencies tag and dependencies management tags in your pom.xml file and determines the duplicate declared dependency, hence optimizing your project. The another is dependency purge local repository. If you run this call, it tells Maven to clear dependency artifact files in the local repository and optionally re-resolve them from the remote repositories. So we have discussed only four of the goals here, but there are many more. We have just discussed the common ones here. There are many other goals which gets used when you work with Maven as a build tool. And also when we get to discuss Gradle, we will see what extra or less Gradle provides us as compared to Maven regarding analyzing dependencies. Okay, so one of the advantage that Maven provides us as a build tool is multi-module projects. If you want to build multi-module projects, then Maven is a great build tool for that. Now, what is it? How a POM is defined? Let's see with the help of example. So I have this pom.xml file here. Here we have defined a couple of things. Let's see what are these. So initially we have defined the project information here, the group ID artifact, what version is it. I was working at a very initial stage. That's why I have kept the snapshot here. The packaging I want to have for my project, the common information about my project. Um, and then the properties. So in properties, we are defining here what version we want to use for our artifacts for common logging for SL4J. Now comes the parent. So parent tag works here for inheriting the dependencies or properties of parent project have in your current project. Basically the inheritance, whatever your parent project will have, it will get inherited here in your current project. That's how we define the parent tag here. Now let's see how a multi-module project is defined while using Maven. In that, you define a parent and your child modules. What are these? How do we define that? For understanding that, we can, I think, have example here. Yeah. So let's say if you're having one parent module and you're having an adapter, but client wise you want to have a different implementation for your adapter. So all these adapter and adaptees, means the client implementation, will act as a modules and will be created as a separate jars, but will be included in parent as modules. So that's what we call a multi-module project, and that's how we define it. We define a parent, this is our current project, and we define the modules here, whatever your modules you are creating. So what other things we are having here? We are having the dependencies tag. Here we define the dependencies, the artifacts we need for our project other than which are coming from parent. And this is the exclusion tag I was talking about, like when you want to exclude any transitive dependencies from your main dependencies, that's how you do. You use this exclusion tag and provide the group ID artifact, and you can even provide a version here. And let's say if you want to exclude it from here, but you want to specify a specific version for your project, so you can simply add the dependency tag and provide the group ID artifact here. Let's close this dependency tag. So this is how you define it. You can provide a version either here, or it would be resolved whatever is suitable with the parent we are using here. Or even you can define the version here in the properties. So after dependencies, what we have here, we have the distribution management tag here. So in distribution management tag, you define the repositories, a remote repositories, a central repository you want to fetch your plugins and dependencies and transitive dependencies from. So here we have defined two kind of repositories, one for central for fetching the dependencies and another for fetching the snapshots. So you can define any number of repositories here that you want to use. So that is the basic structure that we have for pom.xml while working with Maven. Let's proceed further. Seems like I have, yeah, I might have to reload it. 1 second, please. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this was all about the basic, overview of Maven, how we use it. Now let's see the overview of Gradle. So Gradle is an open source built automation tool like Maven is, and it is focused more on flexibility and performance of your project. It is highly customizable, fast, and powerful. We will see how it's highly customizable, why we call it fast. And Gradle is the official tool for Android, and it comes for support for many other languages and technologies. Like I have used it for Java, it can be used with Scala and many other languages. So, what Gradle do is Gradle creates tasks like we saw in with Maven. Maven has a fixed build cycle, but Gradle has task here. The core model of Gradle is based on task. Gradle model it builds as directed acyclic graph. It creates a task and arranges it in a tag, and then see which task is dependent on what and in what hierarchy they should run. Like in generic task graph is shown here, task A is dependent on B, C, and C is having transitive dependency for D, E, and so is Z. And if we see for a standard Java build, how a task graph is created, what all tasks included in the graph are these. First, it builds. For building it, it needs to check, verify, assemble. For assembling, it needs a jar. For jar, it needs a classes. And for classes, needs compile Java and process resources. So what Gradle actually does is it configures a set of tasks and wires them together to create a graph. And once a graph is created like this, Gradle determines the order of tasks in which they have to be executed. So, yeah, so we are using a term here, task. So what is a task actually? They are simply the actions or the piece of work that has to be done by Gradle, like compiling your source code or taking some input or generating any output. So other than task, Gradle has consists of a set of phases also called initialization, configuration, and execution. In initialization, Gradle set up the build environment and determines the project which needs to be built and verifies it. Then it configures and then executes the task which it has created in the configuration step. And we should not take these build phases as the one we saw in Maven. Greater build phases are different from Maven's phases. Maven uses its phases to divide the build execution into multiple stages like clean, compile, or clean, install, deploy. They serve a similar role to Gradle task graph. So those phases are similar to these tasks we are seeing here. Okay, so a different thing that Gradle provides us is a interactive web-based UI for debugging and optimizing builds. Uh, Basically, the build scan. So, what this does is it provides us this interactive web-based UI, scans.gradle.com. It provides us summary, timeline, performance, dependencies, everything that are included in your project here. And it also provides us ways, the ideas how we can optimize our builds, how we can increase the performance of our builds. How we do it, how Gradle provides it, you have to just run a simple command in the root directory of a project. It gives you a simple URL created exclusively for your build, and using that URL, you can come to this page. It is a report of your build. So let's see how that build scan UI looks. So I have, created this build scan report for one of my project called GraphQL Server Java. So let's see what all things we get here. So we see here how many tasks are were running for my build, for building my project, and what time each task took, what were the phases and how much time each phase took for me, how many tests were executed um, in my project. When I run it, there was only one test, so it's showing only one here and showing the time as well, and how many dependencies are included in my project. So we can see the compile class path here, and if we want to see the transitive dependencies, then we can see that here also, like from Guava it's coming, other dependencies are also coming, and we can see some detailed information also, like URL from where it was coming, the attributes, the requested capabilities, and required by who wants this library to be in your project. Also, if we see the build dependencies, okay, it shows what were included by the build script. So dependency management Gradle plugin was required by the build script, and what was included by settings.gradle. What all plugins are included, switches, infrastructure, and yeah, the we were discussing the performance also, right? It shows us, yeah, console log 2, what was the output of your build scan. Yeah, here it shows you suggestions also, like parallel execution can drastically reduce your build time, so we can use it to optimize your builds. Other thing, other thing is that you can host this scan.gradle.com web-based UI on-premise also, so that programmers get a chance to store the build history and analyze those later and see how we can optimize our builds. And Gradle provides is for Gradle build automation tool, but it provides for Maven also. If you are using Maven as a build tool, we can simply add this scan Gradle plugin in the Maven project, and while running or building your Maven project, it will produce a report, this much hierarchy report, and will publish it on the same premise. Okay, so this is the Gradle code example, how a simple Gradle file looks like. Here we are having the build script. So if we try to understand it, build script is just a piece of code in which we can define any custom things we want Gradle to do. It gives us power, to use and define customizable task, and how you can, build your customized task. Like earlier we saw the tasks that were given by Gradle, but we can define our customized task also, how we do it. This is the syntax how we do it. We register our task, and we write the customized code here, where I have written the print ln, and we can tell Gradle which task is dependent on which task, like if it's dependent on other tasks, the transitive task. So how we do that is that first it will run the intro task, and it will see it depends on hello task. So it will go to hello task first, it will run the hello task, and then it will come back to intro task and will print the I'm Gradle. Also, whatever we write in the build script, we have to add it in class path, but Gradle suggests, if instead of playing with the class path, we should go with plugins. Gradle provides plugins for building this build script. And what we have written here is that we have included a Spring Boot Gradle plugin with version 2.1.2, and it is fetching from Maven Central. All the information we have provided here, we have to provide it here because in order to use Spring Boot framework in the Gradle application, we need to provide a build script so that it can fetch this dependency, and we can use it for writing the script below from it. So this is a preliminary kind of step. So other than that, what we need here, we need Java, we need Spring Boot, dependency management, what group we want to show here, version, compatibility, and these dependencies. So the address we want to fetch this dependency from is given here. The repository is Maven Central, and we can define multiple repositories here. Like if we want to use JCenter or IP repository also, we can define it in repositories block. Okay. Yeah, the one thing we sometimes face issues with the dependency conflicts in Gradle and Maven. In Maven, we saw the way we can solve it, and in Gradle, it is solved through this configurations block. It is a syntax in which we tell Gradle to force the version we are providing here for this particular artifact. The dependency management of the architecture of Gradle is very similar to Maven. The only difference is the Gradle cache here. Gradle cache is used for optimizing your build. How it optimizes it? We saw Gradle has a number of tasks to build your complete project, but if nothing has changed in your task from last time, then Gradle won't run that task again. It will simply fetch it from Gradle cache. Hence, it optimizes your build time. But what happens in Maven, like in Maven, how we compile our code, we normally run Maven clean install. So we have to clean the build before building it again. So it builds the whole build again, irrespective of what is changed and what is not. But Gradle caches some of the work, the Gradle cache, and use it for decreasing the build time in little bits. So these are the differences of Maven and Gradle. We have pretty much covered everything, but let's go through, let's have an overview of this as well. So Maven has a fixed and linear model of phases, but Gradle depends on task dependencies. Maven and Gradle both supports for multi-module builds, as we saw. In Maven, Maven doesn't provide us incremental builds very well, but Gradle, yes, it checks which tasks are updated or not. In dependency management, both are equal. These can handle dynamic and transitive dependencies. Maven has a central repository called Maven Central Repository, and Gradle has JCenter. Gradle provides inherent allows concurrent safe caches. So the Gradle cache we saw, it handles a concurrency as well. It keeps the repository metadata along with the cache dependency, and whenever it updates it updates its cache, it checks a checksum if it's changed or not. If it changes, then only it updates it the repository. And Gradle provides us support for IV metadata also, and we can provide custom rules for specifying a version of the dependency and resolving the conflict. So Gradle provides us so much configurability, so much customizability. So that's why it's called a very custom and powerful build tool as compared to Maven. Okay, now we have come to, we have like covered a pretty much fair idea what is included in Maven, what is included in Gradle. But if we come to choose between these two, how should we do that? So there are three key points. So first point is the customizable builds. So with Maven, you can easily define your project's metadata and dependencies, but creating a highly customizable build could be nightmare for Maven users. The POM file can easily be blotted if you are working on a very big project and you have very large number of dependencies, and you can even lose the track of the dependencies. So the second key point is the plugin and integration. So Maven supports a wide range of build lifecycle steps and integrates seamlessly with a third-party jars, tools, and plugins also, such as CI servers or the code coverage plugins, or the static code style plugins like Sonar. So these are there are number of large vendors which are supported by Maven, but they are supported by Gradle as well. But if we compare both of these, Maven has wide support than Gradle, but nowadays Gradle is also getting supported by uh, large number of vendors, and it will keep on increasing. The third key point for Gradle is the flexibility. So Gradle is very flexible in comparison to the Maven. It provides us flexibility based on script. So whatever we write in the Gradle build file, we are writing just a script, and script is so customizable. You can write it in your according to your needs. But if we don't want to use that much of configurability or customizability, we don't have such use of those features, then we can simply go for Maven. Maven is good for small projects. And let's say if you pick Maven in the early stages of your project, and later you realize that I should go for Gradle, I need this particular feature of Gradle which is not provided by Maven, you can simply switch to Gradle as well. Gradle has this extensive support for moving from Maven to Gradle. So it totally depends upon your requirement, how much or what features do you need of these two different build tools. So this is it. This was the overview, differences, and the choosing options that we discussed. Thank you. So does anyone have any questions for me? Let me share the recording.